Good evening. At this time, the board's going to move from executive session into open session. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dave. Board members, you've received a copy of the minutes from our last meeting. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
A second.
Okay. Mr. Frazier?
Mr. Davidson.
Yes.
Mr. Isgrove.
Yes.
Mrs. Matthews.
Yes.
Mr. Sprague.
Yes.
Mrs. Baker.
Yes.
At this time, we have an open slot for city council. Vice President, right, are you going to talk with us? Vice Mayor, sorry, Vice. No, not yet. Not yet. Okay, Mike.
Hope you guys are doing okay. It's nice to be here as always. So first of all, I just want to say thank you to the board and some of the administrators for coming to the State of the City a few weeks ago. It was such an honor to have you guys in the room and another spectacular event. The last 12 months has been great, but it's the next 12 to 24 that's going to be even greater. And that's just a testament to your hard work and our continued collaboration to do what's right for the city. So that's also a celebration of your help with us. So those results are because of your board, the great leadership, and the risk you guys are taking to help us out. So thank you. Saturday is 10 a.m. at Bailey Square is our last coffee with council. And if you guys can make it, great. That just gives everybody just to show up, have coffee, and talk to council about whatever you feel like talking to us about. So we'll be there for an hour. We'll have the coffee out, and council will be there to answer any questions, concerns, whatever you want to talk about. We'll be there. I guess the only real update last night, council voted to increase our utility rates. I know it may not seem popular, but it was just an increase on our water and wastewater portion of the bill. Because of inflation, everything is going up, everything. And we have been trying our best to avoid ensuing loss. The cost of repairs is starting to creep up in a very critical level. We can no longer just streamline what we're doing. We have to act. So it's a $4 increase starting January 1st total. Then it'll go up again for another $4 and after that. So this is a good time to do this. This will help protect our water. This will help place water mains throughout the city. This will be critical when it comes to repairing systems and software that delivers safe drinking water to the schools, to our homes, to our businesses, and vice versa with the wastewater. So critical updates coming to our water reclamation plant and water treatment plant. It's going to be raising over $1 million. All for repairs. So trust me, we are going to be having before and after photos when these repairs are made so the public can see this is where it is. And we can always take it just depends on how the economy is going, but that's all I really have. So happy Halloween.
Appreciate that. We're one of the few cities with all our own utilities,
Yes,
correct?
so
Which makes it really nice.
it's
Yeah.
very nice. So we are the only city in the state of Ohio that owns and operates our own utilities. So we are the provider, we are the supplier. So we set the rates, and that is our ace of spades. That's how we can get these big companies in, because we can do things that Duke can't for other cities. So, and it's a big deal. That's why we got to make sure we invest in our infrastructure. We keep up with repairs, and we make everything as affordable as possible. But in order to do that, sometimes we got to take,
Sure.
we got to take a hit every now and then to maintain and deliver safe and reliable utilities for businesses and our residents.
I want to say too, with the state of the city, the things that are going on here, it is just so exciting. You know, I think all of us around this table have been here during the darker years.
Yeah.
And just to see the city is continuing to move forward. And kudos to everybody with city council and Joshua and the rest of the staff at the city, the hard work that's going into that. It's a great time to be here.
Yeah.
It's a really wonderful
It's a
time to
lot
be
of
here.
fun.
It's a lot of
It's a
fun.
lot of fun.
Yeah. So,
So, thank you. You guys are
Good.
part of that too. And like I said, the next 12 months is going to be really, really exciting. We got some really
keep us updated.
coming our way. So I'll be back soon.
Sounds good. Okay. Thank you, Michael. Mr. Holbrook?
Yes, next on the agenda, President Sprague, is that we have two presentations from two of our elementary schools tonight. And the first elementary school I would like to introduce is Crawford Woods Elementary, and Aaron Hopkins and Sue Ernst are here to present about the great things going on at Crawford.
All right. Good evening, everybody. No matter how many times I get up here in front of you, it still makes me nervous. You can't help but to ask the question, am I good enough? Am I good enough to lead a building? Am I good enough for Hamilton? Am I good enough to keep my job? Am I good enough? One can get carried away with this, so to calm my nerves, I try to remind myself that you're a people just like me. You put your pants on one leg at a time, just like me. You have strengths and flaws, just like me. You wake up in the morning and look in the mirror and can't help but to reflect, just like me. And you want what's best for our students, parents, staff, and district, just like me. I hope reminding myself that you are just like me is better than picturing you all in your underwear. Now who's feeling nervous? Our school year started back in July. For the first time ever, we were able to conduct a retreat for a select group of teachers. We ventured out to Houston Woods Lodge and spent 3 days discussing topics that we felt were relevant for our school year. We were able to pay for this through the use of our SQUIG money. We focused on the main topics of MTSS, PBIS, OST, and many other educational acronyms I won't bore you with. We spent a great deal of time discussing teacher efficacy and how it relates to research conducted by John Hattie. Coming out of the COVID pandemic, I realized that we not only need to get our students to believe in themselves, but we also have to do the same for one another. Teacher efficacy, the feeling that we can, is the most impactful learning strategy generated from John Hattie's research. During our retreat, we not only got to discuss goals for the school year, we also got to learn more about one another. We got to share stories and just meet in a more relaxed atmosphere. The investment in the people we work with was the most powerful part of the retreat, in my opinion. But I don't want you to get the impression that we sat around and talked all day for 3 days. We also were able to produce a school-wide policy on hoods, a school-wide policy on cell phones, a collaborative list on how we can help influence building climate during the school year, a commitment from BLT members to be open to visiting teachers' classrooms and to also hosting teachers for teacher growth, and probably most importantly, we further developed our school mission and vision statement. During the 2021-2022 school year, we presented the staff with a list of core values and asked them to select their top 3 core values. We did this using a word cloud, so the 3 core values that had the most selections appear in larger font within the word cloud. The 3 core values that were identified as most important to the staff were the values of respect, growth, and high expectations. Based on this, the vision statement for Crawford Woods was to create an environment based on respect, growth, and high expectations. At the BLT retreat, we decided to refine our vision statement even further and create a mission statement to go along with it. After a brief discussion, the members of the retreat settled on the mission, creating a community that instills respect and high expectations to grow lifelong problem solvers. And the vision statement was to grow lifelong problem solvers. We took this statement to the staff at a staff meeting, and it was determined that we add the word learners to our statement, and voila, the new vision and mission statements were created. The staff voted in favor of adopting these statements as our vision and mission for the 2022-2023 school year. I feel like all these things set the tone for our 2022-2023 school year, and you will probably hear undertones of these slides throughout the presentation. I felt like those were important topics to cover. At the end of last school year, each school in Hamilton had to create a one plan. The one plan is a 3-year plan that lays out goals that we will work towards over the next 3 school years. Each goal has a list of objectives or action steps that we will take to accomplish the goals laid out in the one plan. The main goals set forth in the one plan are centered around academic growth and achievement and creating safe and secure schools. The goals are designed to raise performance index and improve our PBIS system. The action steps focus on Tier 1 instruction, creating a robust MTSS system, improving data literacy, improving family engagement, building professional development, and social emotional learning. As you can see, we have a lot to work on. At our first PD day in September, we spent time using a collaborative approach to setting goals for our building. The goals were determined by our one plan goals. This helps keep all our arrows going in the same direction. Teachers were broken up into groups based on their teaching disciplines and grade levels. 2 teams of teachers were assigned to each goal. Teachers created action steps to accomplish each goal, and then the 2 groups with like goals collaborated to create a final plan. Teachers then used the Kagan strategy of carousel feedback to provide feedback to each group's goals. Creators of the goals and action steps used the feedback to create a final goal. We walked away from that PD with 4 building goals and action steps to accompany these goals. They were created by the teachers for the teachers. We use these goals in our professional growth plans and also when discussing teacher evaluations. As you have probably noticed, we tend to break things down into 2 overarching categories: academics and behavior. We organize our approach to these 2 categories through the MTSS structure. We divide each category into 3 tiers. Tier 1 being what all students get, Tier 2 being what some students get, and Tier 3 what some individual students get. Students are placed in tiers based on need and overall success engaging with the overall curriculum and school day. On the academic side of our cone, you see Tier 1 strategies and curriculum. The focus of the one plan for the 2022-2023 school year is on creating a strong Tier 1 for our students. We continue to work on our framework for providing balanced literacy instruction. For Tier 1, we use our literacy and math essentials. We provide reading instruction through a balanced literacy approach, which we continue to refine. We also are implementing a new phonics program in grades K to 3. This is an important addition to our balanced literacy framework since our students have been without a research-based approach to teaching phonics for several years now. We are going to continue implementing connected math for our 6th grade students, but we are now working building-wide with Eureka Math, which is also known as Engage New York, in grades K to 5. The rigor of this curriculum is a big adjustment to where we have been, which will hopefully promote growth for our Tier 1 and Tier 2 students. We divide the behavior portion of our cone into the 3 tiers, just like we have done for our academic side of our cone. We have spent a great deal of our efforts looking at our Tier 1 supports for PBIS. I mentioned the school-wide policies we created for hoods and cell phones. We also have a school-wide behavior matrix. We trained every student in our school on the behavioral expectations. We recognize students making positive choices with character cards and daily character card drawings. We had an added second step, which is a Tier 1 social-emotional learning curriculum. Every student in our school participates in a second step lesson on every Monday of our school week. The goal of this program is to give students more tools in their toolbox to use when building relationships with others and to have a better understanding of themselves and their emotions. We are also excited that we have purchased, received, and set up our book vending machine. We are actually now using our book vending machine. Students receive tokens for exhibiting our character trait of the month and for being nominated as Student of the Month. Students will be able to use this token to purchase a book from the book vending machine. This is a great way to reward students for positive choices, but also incentivizes reading for our students. One last thing I would like to highlight is our individualized check-in, check-out system. We have always used behavior plans and individual check-in, check-out sheets, but we are moving to a way to make this process universal. This gives us the ability to track data around goals set up on individual forms and to report this data to our teachers, students, and community. This will be a great way for us to monitor if the plans we are creating are successful or not. Our MTSS system is based completely on data. Students travel through the tiers based on data. This allows us, as a school, to make data-driven decisions. One additional level of data analysis is accomplished in our data chats. We added this to our schedule for the 2022-2023 school year. We have an allotted 25 minutes of time each day between 8:45 and 9:10, where our specials teachers cover 4 homerooms, so the homeroom teachers can meet with administration and coaches to review data. We have held 3 rounds of data chats so far this school year. We have focused on our daily schedules, our behavior plans, our MAP data, and our behavior data in the 3 rounds of chats we've held so far. We will use this time to review our data and discuss our students. Instructional decisions will be made in these meetings and in our TBT meetings to determine tiers of instruction and intervention for our students. Excuse me. As always, we work to provide our students and their families with opportunities to enjoy some events. We had 2 buses full of students, parents, and teachers to transport to our homecoming parade. We marched and chanted and cheered all the way to Hamilton High School. Our music teacher, Charlene Ram Alfaro, puts together all the chants and cheers and practices them with our Wildcats. This is always a great event to be a part of. We also held a Hispanic Heritage Block Party. This event was an outreach with 17 Strong and Lighthouse Baptist Church. Our ESL department seized the moment, and we gave the block party a Hispanic flair. We had La Torreya, a cakewalk, a photo booth, face painting, and several other carnival games. We had booths set up from various charitable organizations. We also had food donations from El Gran Valle Verde and El Asadero. The night was a huge success, and everyone that attended had a great time. And best of all, it was free for all that attended. Now, there are lots of quotes about having a positive attitude, but the one that stands out to me is one by Confucius. Confucius stated, "The man who says he can and the man who says he cannot are both correct." This is essentially the same thing as efficacy. Efficacy is the idea that we can persevere and overcome our challenges. For the past 12 years, the challenge has been to grow students. We have many students that come from poverty. They come from families where English is not spoken in the home. They come from families that experience trauma. They come from families where education is not always the focus of the home. And through it all, we grow kids. Now let's throw the pandemic into play. A pause in instruction, a fear of being around one another, an alternate reality for years that wasn't alternate, it was our reality. Now the data and statistics are starting to roll in, and it reinforces what we already know. Kids across the country are behind. The challenge we face continues to grow. For the first time in my career, I am seeing children that have a large interruption in their formal education. While this is usually associated with students that immigrate to the United States from other countries, in these particular cases, the students have been enrolled in an online platform since 2020. If there was ever a time to believe in ourselves, now is the time. We are working on believing in ourselves, believing in one another, and believing in our students because we know they can do it. I started this speech by asking, am I good enough? But to be honest, being good enough has never been my goal at Crawford Woods. My goal at Crawford Woods has always been to be my best. I believe in my staff, and I believe in my students, and I believe you get our best each day.
Aaron, I have to say, I appreciate what you said on all these things, but bringing the staff together, creating collaboration with your staff members, you did it for 3 days at Houston Woods?
Houston Woods, yes, for a retreat.
That's wonderful. I mean, nice and fresh before the year starts and coming up with those things. Having your staff working together, we know how important that is. And as I've seen you at at Crawford Woods for years and years and years, every year I'm impressed how you continue to grow and bring your staff together to meet the needs of your students. And you're correct. I mean, we're seeing a lot of problems right now, and the way you're addressing those is just fantastic, and I want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
I know it's a difficult job sometimes, and I heard about the Hispanic Heritage event. That sounded wonderful. Like 1,000 people were there or something like that?
We had that many, but
Well,
we'll
that's
plan
okay.
to
You
get
had 1,000, 1,500 at least, yeah.
My
But
math skills are
I heard it was a
robust.
wonderful event. Congratulations on that.
Whenever you speak with us, I'm always impressed in how excited you are about your staff, your students, what you do for the community. So thank you so much for what you do.
Mr. Hopkins, not only do I appreciate your leadership, I can recall back in 2019 when I took this job and I introduced the One Plan, and I looked at all the administrators. It was a pretty popular decision. But I think you're starting to see some of the results of that. It's a tangible plan that, you know, from a broad-based standpoint, every building has a plan, but we know that not every building's exactly the same. And one of the things Aaron and his staff have been able to do is sit down as a group, identify what are the needs of Crawford Woods students, what are the needs of staff, and you heard some of the things that are beneficiaries of that plan. We're now getting some of our teachers in to observe other teachers. That rarely occurred before, and that's a huge strategy that we need to implement. We got a lot of really top-notch teachers that we don't utilize the ability to observe and learn from them all the time. And so I'm real happy to hear that that's going on. And the second thing that I think you heard, and I want to applaud, Aaron's complete focus is on the growth of the student, both behaviorally as well as academically. And he and his staff have done a tremendous job of that, and I want to publicly thank you for all the work that you've done at Crawford, and look forward to seeing what exciting things you're doing this year.
A lot going on, and
You do.
couldn't do it without the staff that I have around me. Thank you.
All the good things going on at Ridgeway.
Thank you so much. Mrs. Snively, the assistant, has a sick preschooler at home today, so she's unable to make it. But I want to say right now, she's doing a really good job as the assistant. Okay, so Ridgeway Elementary. I'm going to be quick. Okay. This is our theme for the year, Hometown Pride. We picked this for several reasons, but you'll see throughout this presentation how we have kind of woven in the hometown pride into our instruction and into our fun. We start off with the first day of school and inviting Mayor Pat Moeller to greet the staff. He came and gave us Hamilton updates and welcomed everybody to this year. You can see a picture of our fun little centerpieces on each table with highlighting Hamilton places and people. Next, thank you. We have that our kids, our students, our teachers, everybody are hometown heroes. Top left, 17 Strong Movie Night at Veterans Park. We had staff members volunteering there. Empty bowls to benefit Open Door Pantry, which we have every November. Many, many staff members, parents, and students making the bowls and volunteering to make that event successful. Our Veterans Assembly, we always have around 100 veterans who participate. Have pictures of the homecoming parade too. We have adults from school that volunteer for all kinds of things. Hamilpalooza, many things happening in our city. Grandparents' Day was in September. For 4 days, we have to have a pod a day because we just had over 1,600 grandparents at the school, and so we have to separate it into 4 days in order to make that happen. And then our fall festival is always at a local farm, and this year we had just shy of 500 in attendance. Next, we'll go on to some of these graphs that are pretty impressive. We really build our hometown pride into our instruction, and you're going to see some ways in which we do that here in a minute. But I just want to point out this. Our actual performance, projected performance on the OST is the middle bar there. And then our projected, and then our actual is the bottom bar. And we were 58.83 projected to be proficient. We ended up 63.37 actual. So these projections are pretty spot on. And the reason we like to look at them is because we want to do better. We want to raise that bar. And we're going to do everything in our power to find out what every individual needs in order to get that to happen. The next one, you'll see, I'm highlighting a couple teachers. This is 6th grade Mr. Mills, going above and beyond. He was projected that 57% of his kids would be proficient or higher. He went just 0.44 shy of 10% more, 67%, which is incredible. It really is. And you'll see that I really love writing, and we have a big focus on writing every year. And in the test, the Ohio State test, writing can put a kid over the edge to pass who's not even on grade level reading. Writing is really important. Look at Mr. Mills's the circle graph there. All the green area are the proficient kids in just writing, which is amazing. The next slide is Mrs. Farquist. She teaches 6th grade math. She was projected to have 17.39% of her kids at the advanced level, a level above proficient, but she ended up having 30% at the advanced level, moving those kids up and up and up. And the next slide, I really love getting this data back every year. Sometimes it's exciting, sometimes it's not, but we always learn from it, and we can always act upon it. I have to brag though, because our recent reports, if you look at the red bar, that's our results. Blue is the district, yellow is the state. There's our 3rd grade kids who outperformed both the district and the state in both math and ELA. You go to 4th grade. What? It happened again. 4th grade outperformed district and state. 5th grade, look at that, outperformed. Last but not least, 6th grade outperformed. This is the results that we expect and that we are working for diligently. With all the programs we have in place throughout this district, they are solid and they are working. If you go to the next one, you'll see I needed to throw in some primary people. These are kindergarten teachers. You can see by their graph at the end of last year, their kids were really excelling. So I want to make it known that setting that foundation for growth and achievement starts in the primary grades with wonderful teachers as well. We like to be involved in things that happen in our city. We just had Public Safety Week. They had a coloring contest. It takes nothing for us to send that home with kids and say, return it. And when we say you might win something from Henry's Candy, you get a lot back. So we had a ton of winners at that. Next thing is our Change for Charity, again, helping our city holistically, helping each child. This year we're doing a little bit different. Every grade level sponsors a month, and they've all picked a place in Hamilton to donate to. We've had our first 3 Change for Charities where we sell things during the lunch hour to benefit one of these charities, and we have over $840 collected just from those 3 months, and that has already been distributed to the Caring Closet 17 Strong and Booker T. Washington / the Fringe Music Center. There's the studio that they have. I love this. This was featured in the last Hamiltonian magazine. Our 5th grade teachers, Mrs. Sugg and Mrs. Spurlock, created this amazing lesson on 17 Strong. Students learned about each neighborhood, then the neighborhood they lived in, the businesses and parks nearby, and ways in which they can participate in the community. Then they studied a poem by George L. Lyon and noted descriptive language and figurative language. And from there, they listed places and activities and experiences that make us feel like we belong to an amazing community, descriptive language. And then the kids crafted an extraordinary poem that were amazing. We pitched this to the Hamiltonian, and they put in 4 of the kids' poems that were amazing, and they opened it up to all of the buildings now. So every month, every 5th grade in all of our buildings has an opportunity to do this lesson and feature 4 of their students in the magazine. So we're excited about that. Last, promoting hometown pride daily through our words and our actions and our instruction is what we do. We provide a holistic education while we're supporting our city and helping others. Thanks.
Kathy, I gotta say, your the projections, the actual what your teaching staff has accomplished with your students is incredible. I mean, I was the time I've been digging into it while you're speaking. That's incredible that you guys have beaten not the odds, but beaten those projections to that extent. That's wonderful. Congratulations to your
And
staff.
I have to give credit to our leaders too for
Yeah.
bringing in the programs they have. I mean, it's really, really working and helping, and the support we're getting is amazing. So.
That's what we were hoping you'd say. But I also want to say congratulations on the community mindedness. I love your Hamilton Pride idea. These make better citizens for in the future as these students get to know our community and what it's all about. The pennies, collecting the change, and doing those things. It's just incredible for those kids to be involved with that. So congratulations on that. I mean, you've always been doing that as far back as I can remember. The kids that I say your kids, but the kids at Ridgeway are always doing stuff to understand our community better and giving back to the community.
That's all right.
And that's what we need. Thank you.
Kathy, my neighborhood, a lot of the kids go to Ridgeway over on Leah Court, and I'm just so impressed with them, and they get so excited about going to school, and you guys are, and you've always had that energy, and so much appreciated, but great job on those numbers, too.
Thanks. It's exciting.
Kathy,
Next year, if they aren't as good, I'll be sick and Hillary can come.
Kathy and Aaron both, in the, 9-10 years I've been on the board, I have watched how you both have taken your schools and how you've gotten the staff to embrace what your goals and plans are and how hard everybody works. And that's impressive. It really is. So, thank you guys so much.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's unmute. We're live. So with having it, with being able to have it be a unique experience for that neighborhood, that culture, that whatever, the kids there, so having the Hispanic Fest, I think that was amazing, giving it that flair. And then also, how you integrate the community feel, and you guys both do that so well. And I just love all the creativity that you always bring to the students over at Ridgeway. So I always enjoy coming to your buildings and seeing what type of displays with the cases or what look like in the schools. So it's always just very interesting and exciting to see, and I think it's definitely a great experience for our students. So you guys bring such a uniqueness to your building, but at the same time, they're all so Hamilton. So it's pretty cool. So I dig it. I love it. Thank you.
Well, Kathy, I know that you worked and your staff really hard on those scores, and your kids are going to continue to do well. But one of the things that you continually do is you're balancing what goes inside the classroom and outside the classroom. And I think we can learn, and kids can learn as much from activities outside the classroom as they can inside. And you bringing that spirit every day, and something that Mrs. Baker said, kids need to be excited about coming to school. And you bring that excitement, and they want to be there, and they're really going to learn and excel in that environment. And it starts with you. You're one of the most enthusiastic administrators that I've met in my 32 years, and it's exciting to see, and I want to personally thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is typically the time for our public participation. I have not received anything for public participation, so Mr. Holbrook.
Yes, President Sprague. Tonight, I want to report to the board on a variety of different things that are on the board agenda tonight. Tonight, on the grants section, we have grants from the Harry T. Wilkes Foundation, and those grants are for our Educators of Excellence. And those Educators of Excellence include Emily Balsbaugh from Bridgeport, Kara Kirshner from Brookwood, Christy Bailey from Crawford, Karen Boltman from Fairwood, Becky Huber from Highland, Michelle Beck from Linden, Zach Mills from Ridgeway, Michelle St. Laurent from Riverview, Wendy Tuttle from Wilson Middle, Melissa Carmody from Garfield, Gabby Sims from the Freshman Building, Tracy Francis from the Miami School, and Mike Neary from Hamilton High School's main campus. All of those individuals were recognized last week at the Educator of Excellence Awards, and each one of them received $1,000 to be able to use either in their classrooms or at their schools. So there's $13,000 worth of grant monies there that are going to benefit our students and our teachers on a daily basis. And I want to personally thank everyone that is involved in that, and a special thanks to the excellence that these teachers have demonstrated. And this is really an award from last year. So I want to make sure that they are recognized. We also have some monies for our Mind Peace Garden and Outdoor Classroom that is at Fairwood Elementary for $1,500. We have some monies for $1,500 through 17 Strong to purchase supplies at Hamilton High School. And we have approximately $139,000 through our E-rate funding program. And E-rate is a federal funding program that provides discounts to schools for things such as telecommunications, internet access, internal connections, and things of that nature. And the way that works, it's usually an 80%, 20% split, where 80% we can E-rate the cost of that to push our costs down, and the district funds 20% of that, and that is extremely helpful in the area of technology. So altogether tonight, with funding and our E-rate, we have $155,410.31 in grants and E-rate funding that isn't touching our general fund and budget. And once again, I think part of our jobs is to be prudent. We use money prudently from our taxpayers, and we look at that every single agenda, and every single expenditure is looked out of that lens. I also brought up earlier, education is not only about what's in the classroom, it's about experiences. And tonight, for your consideration, we have a variety of different field trips that are going to expose our students to, so many different experiences, and you can learn as much from those experiences as you can from classroom activities. And so tonight, for your consideration, we have field trips to Washington, D.C. for both of our middle schools. We have a Western Civilization class from Hamilton High School visiting St. Mary's Cathedral in Covington, Kentucky, to learn a little bit about the history of the cathedral. We have our NJROTC program traveling all around from Port Clinton to Norfolk, Virginia, to Marengo, Ohio, Yellow Springs, Ohio. We have our marching band going to Piqua to compete in the state band championships. We have our prestige and vocal show choir that's going to Cuyahoga Falls in Ohio. We also have our Winter Guard competing in competitions in Marion, Ohio, Groveport, Ohio, Grand Blanc, Michigan, Indianapolis, Indiana, Fairborn, Ohio, and Highland Heights, Kentucky. And we have on there even our boys basketball team going and participating in a scrimmage over in Kentucky at Simon Kenton High School. So once again, not only are we expanding our students' horizons within the classroom, but outside the classroom as well. And the last thing I want to mention is that our boys football team qualified for the state playoffs, and tomorrow night travel down to Shea Stadium in Norwood, Ohio to take on the Moeller Crusaders, and I wish all of them the best of luck tomorrow night. That's my presentation this evening.
As does the board. We wish them the very, very best against Moeller next. But I think I can speak for the board. Congratulations to those teachers who were recognized last week at the Educator of Excellence. I know this program was started with Harry Wilkes a number of years ago and just continues to go along and recognizes those teachers that make incredible impacts on our students. So on behalf of the board, we thank those teachers. And I think that's been a wonderful way for our community to celebrate all that they do in the classroom.
And if I may interject, that is also a really unique event. There are not a lot of communities that recognize educators in that capacity, and it's something that's Hamilton's, and it's something that we own, and it's something that is quite extraordinary.
And Mr. Sprague, I'd like to point out that last Wednesday at the Harry T. Wilkes Awards, that we actually had 2 students from the fine arts participate, and
I heard the trumpet player was.
and you know what? That young man won my heart when he played Frank Sinatra music.
Okay.
But yes, it was very nice.
Very nice event, very nice event. Mr. Holbrook, did you want to say anything about the contract, or we want to just go on?
Next on the agenda, we are recommending that you. Next on the agenda, we are recommending that you approve Local 711, which is the transportation contract as presented. This is the contract, it's a 2-year contract for our transportation department.
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Frazier?
Mr. Sprague,
Yes.
Mrs. Baker,
Yes.
Mr. Davidson,
Yes.
Mr. Isgro,
Yes.
Mrs. Matthews.
Board members, in front of you, you have the consent agenda for human resources, student services, technology, business operations, curriculum and instruction, and special education. I'd like to have a motion to accept those items.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Frazier?
Mrs. Baker,
Yes.
Mr. Davidson,
Yes.
Mr. Isgro,
Yes.
Mrs. Matthews. Yes. Mr. Sprague.
Yes. And the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. We only have a few items up for approval tonight. We have a $700 donation from Joey Lawrence for Highland Elementary School. We have a TIF agreement and a revenue sharing agreement for the Anthony Wayne property. And then we also have the treasurer's financial report, which includes the cash position report, as well as the cash flow analysis. Again, the cash flow analysis is only through September, so we're still looking at trends from the last 2 years. But on our November 10th meeting, which is our next meeting, we'll really kind of dive into the school finances and the health of those as we look at the 5-year forecast for November. So that's what I have for you tonight.
I wanted to thank you for all your work that you've done on the Anthony Wayne agreement. I know that's been a little work in progress, so thank you for all that and for your analysis. I'd like to have a motion to approve the finance portion.
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
And Mr. Frazier?
Mr. Davidson?
Yes.
Mr. Isgro?
Yes.
Mrs. Matthews? Mr. Sprague?
Yes.
Mrs. Baker?
Yes.
Is there any other business for the board? Just a reminder, our next board meeting is on Thursday, November 10th. We will be starting at 4 o'clock, going into executive session with an open meeting at 6 o'clock. So may I have a motion to adjourn?
So,
I thank Pastor Shack. All in favor?
aye.
Thank you for coming, everybody. We're dismissed.